Hey, this is Corey, and in this video I am going to show you how to audit your most popular content to find out how people are finding you and to uncover hidden opportunities so that you can expand and create new content to serve the target audience that you're trying to reach. So we're going to start here in Search Console. I am in the Search Analytics section. I have clicks, impressions, and position turned on, and I have this date set to the last 90 days just to get as much data as I can here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little radio button right here for pages, and this is going to show me by default the pages with the most clicks from search engines right here. And you can see in my case the majority of my clicks are coming from just really one, but 3 of my pages. And you can also sort this by impressions or position, but right now I want to see clicks. And I can see these 2 posts are my most popular posts. And once I see that, I can actually click on one of these posts. I don't want to click right here. This will open up the post, but anywhere else I click, I will get information about that post by itself. So this is my wedding venue post that I have on my site. And once I'm on this, I can actually click back to queries, and it will maintain the page that I was looking at and go back to showing me queries. So now it's going to show me queries that are only for this page, and then I'll have all of the same information here. So you can look and see that 387 queries displayed this page in the past 90 days. That means these are the things that people actually typed into Google, and somewhere in that search my page was displayed. So what I can do is then I can go down here and I can export by just clicking download, and I can choose as a CSV or into Google Docs. This is not letting me choose that, but we can do CSV. So I went ahead and did that, and then sorted it a little bit in Excel and pulled it back into Google Docs so that we can take a look. So let's go ahead and here we're going to look at the 7 favorite wedding venues, and I also have one up for the engagement session location post that was the second most popular. So for the wedding venues post, I have this green section, which are all of the queries that got more than 10 clicks. Now you can see that the majority, again, comes down to just a few at the top. Wedding venues in Columbia SC, wedding venues Columbia SC, Columbia SC wedding venues. But then you can see there are a few other popular ones here as well, and there are also some others that had a high number of impressions. So for example, Columbia wedding venues, which is different than Columbia SC wedding venues, had 559 impressions and only 10 clicks. And my guess on that is that people were also seeing this result in maybe Maryland or another state that has a Columbia. And so my result, because it says South Carolina, was less likely to get clicked for all Columbias. But when it's Columbia SC, it has a very high click-through rate. So, some interesting data there. This next section, though, is really an interesting one because it's results that showed up on page 1. So I'm looking at impressions. I mean, not impressions. I'm looking at position here, this 4th column of numbers. And the position is where the result actually showed up on the page in the search results pages. So anything but before or up to 10 is usually on the first page. And so here we have first page results that had less than 10 clicks but more than 10 impressions. That means it got seen more than 10 times but got clicked less than 10 times. And so in this case, I'm really looking for the outliers like these where it's 400 impressions but only 2 clicks. Again, here it's probably because of Columbia and not Columbia SC. But you might find one like this. Affordable wedding venues in Columbia SC. It had 204 impressions but only 5 clicks. are wedding venues in Lexington, SC, which is right outside of Columbia. And it has 566 impressions and only 5 clicks. Now this is really interesting data for me because I would not expect Lexington to get 566 impressions in this amount of time. That's much higher than I would have ever thought. And you can see I'm in position 8, and if I could bump that up to position 4 or 3 or something a little bit closer to the top, then I would get more than 5 clicks. But more likely, if I made the result more relevant for Lexington, I would get more than 5 clicks. So I may even want to think about creating a totally different post for wedding venues in Lexington, South Carolina, now that I see that it's more popular than I expected. And you can also see Blythewood is pretty popular. Not nearly as popular as Lexington, but it does have some impressions, and the click-through rate is actually high based on the position and the impressions. And then you start to see like some interesting things like Stone River Wedding. It's a venue here in Columbia, and it had quite a few impressions and no clicks. So I might want to think about making some content about that specific venue. Then I can go down into page 2+, same kind of thing. So I've sorted all of these things beforehand. Just you can sort really in any way that you want. Just think about, you have clicks, impressions, click-through rate, and position. And there's a lot of different ways that you might want to sort to get different information. I have other queries here that are sorted by position. So I might see things where I'm ranking very high. Now in this case, sometimes you'll have very personalized results. If you're in position 1 and you only see like 1 impression, it's probably because someone was either they visited your site recently, or they're very close to your physical address, or something like that. And you don't really want to base that too much on 1 impression. Now, once it starts to get higher, like you had 8 impressions where you averaged position 3, then that's actually probably something that you can look at. I mean, outside wedding venues is a very general term, and so maybe just anyone in Columbia who doesn't even type in Columbia is still seeing that result. So there's a lot of information here. One thing that I think is so interesting is that there are 300 and something impressions just for this 1 page that doesn't even use most of these words. Now you'll notice that if you look at the post, you can see wedding venues in Columbia, SC is the main thing that I'm optimizing for, and you can see wedding venues in Columbia, SC has significantly more impressions than any others, and so that's intentional. Obviously, I've paid attention to that and made sure to optimize the post for the keywords that were getting the most impressions. And you'll want to do the same thing. You want to go in and make sure that your post is primarily optimized for the phrases exactly like the majority of people are typing them. So let's look at another example of that here on the engagement session location post. Notice here how the most popular way that people are typing this specific thing. Now, places to take pictures is getting more impressions, but if you look at something specific to engagement photos, places to take engagement photos, you can see it again here, and you can see kind of how people are typing these things. But places to take engagement photos, and if you look, I use that, places to take engagement photos, in the title. It'll show up in the text, and in the meta description if possible. So you have to be in tune with how people are searching. But even up here, see Columbia engagement session location. Sometimes you don't use it exactly the same in all the places. You might use a couple of variations in your different key places to put your keywords. So looking on this list, there's not nearly as much data as the other, but there's still some interesting things. Like, for example, I have places to take engagement photos in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about an hour and a half from me in a very competitive market. And I'm on page 1 for that over an average of 13 impressions. So what that tells me is that there probably isn't anyone that's really optimizing for this term, and I could probably make some content around Charlotte locations to take engagement photos and get some qualified leads if I was interested in shooting more in Charlotte. And again, we have Lexington that has, a few impressions, which tells me, again, I need to pay more attention to Lexington. It's really close to Columbia. I actually live in Lexington, and so I should probably spend more time optimizing my site for Lexington because there's plenty of opportunity there, and it's much less competitive. And you'll find things like specific parks that people are searching for and specific locations. And it's just good to know exactly how people are typing these things in, when to take engagement pictures. You can see things like people are typing engagement pictures versus engagement photos. It's interesting that people want to know places to take pictures in general. Maybe that would tell me that if I do other types of photography, I should make this post more general instead of just engagement locations. In my case, I only want to do wedding and engagement, so it makes sense to keep it specific, but that could be a great post for someone who does general sessions as well. So hopefully this gets your mind moving, and you have some time to download your data and do some sorting and searching and finding new ideas and new opportunities for using keywords exactly the way that your target demographic is searching. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to get this data until you have some posts already out there. So what I like to tell people is sometimes it's best to just start writing and posting and then adjusting afterwards. So it's great to go ahead and put information up there, and sometimes your posts will stick and sometimes they won't. And in my case, for the example, this engagement, you see I posted this in August, and only recently did it really start taking off. So it's been like 3 or 4 months where that post didn't really do much of anything, and I could have given up on it and said, well, I guess I didn't pick a good topic. But eventually it did start getting traffic, and I could even go in here and get some information off of this and figure out, okay, well, what should my next post be, or how can I add better information to the post that I already have? And that's another thing you can look at here. On the wedding venues, right now I only have a list of 7 venues, but I could go back in and I could start adding topics. Instead of creating new posts or new content, I could just take that one post that's already ranking, and I could make subtopics like dinner venues and reception halls. If I made those subheadings and then put in a couple of extra venues that were perfect for that type of wedding, I would probably get a lot more clicks, because Google is smart enough to take that content and dynamically generate meta descriptions and even adjust the title if they feel like they need to. If the content is there, Google does a pretty good job of serving it up. So again, hopefully this has been helpful for you. I'd love to hear your comments. So be sure to let me know what you found and any questions that you have along the way. All right, talk to you again soon.